3, 2, 1, go!
When news broke in mid-May about a new TimeSplitters game being announced, people got hyped. And why wouldn't they? This is some exciting news. First entry into a franchise that has been dormant for about 16 years now, and it's going to be helmed by some of the original people who worked on it. It's a lot to be excited about, a lot to look forward to. The only problem is that it hasn't quite started production yet, so we've probably got a few years before we actually get to play it. There are games out there like TimeSplitters that you could play, like GoldenEye or Perfect Dark that have similar mechanics, or time-traveling stories like Time Shift. Any of those work fine, but sometimes you have the urge to play a true and blue TimeSplitters-esque game. And that isn't just a mod of TimeSplitters too. What if I told you that game exists? What if I told you there is a game, a first-person shooter with mechanics similar to TimeSplitters? It's all about different characters in different settings, wacky storylines, and a variety of guns and songs. A game that's truly unique, nothing quite like it. Well, that game exists, and it's called RickRollEye 64. RickRollEye 64 is a GoldenEye 007 mod made by Johnny Thunder. It was released back in 2019, and it is something I'm not sure how to put it. I feel like I should probably throw some disclaimers around that. I'm not making anything up when I describe the game. You play as Rick Astley, who's working alongside several other characters of meme culture like the G-Man and Doc Brown, as they're trying to investigate this crossover that's caused bizarre things to happen around the world, taking you to different locations like a forested secret base made in World War II, or Black Mesa, or other crazy locations like that. They're all built around existing GoldenEye levels, but with clever twists done to make them feel unique. Some are reversed, like they're completely flipped around. You don't start at the finish or anything, but everything is inverted or mirrored. A good example of this is the opening level, Dam, or Beginning, which is the Dam level from GoldenEye, but done from a mirrored perspective. It also has a boss fight with Shrek, dual-wielding AKs from Counter-Strike, so that is something else.
What are you doing in my
RickRollEye does go down the basic GoldenEye storyline from the game, just with some twists here and there to mix up levels and make things feel different. There are some new guns thrown in to give levels more variety or give them a different feeling. Like, in the forest level, the fog has a gray color to it, and everything's given more of an alpine look instead of a tropical look, to make it feel more like a forest in America instead of in Cuba. The enemies also are either World War II-era American troops with Thompsons, or other strange enemies like the engineer from TF2, complete with his shotgun that you can pick up and use. Stuff like that really sets the game apart. There are some fun additions to existing GoldenEye levels. Like, as I mentioned, the boss fight with Shrek. Big Smoke is a boss in one of the levels. There's a level where you fight against the TF2 classes, and they make their signature death screams when you kill them. There's one where you're going through a library occupied by Scatman impersonators who are dual-wielding MAC-10s. Just crazy stuff like that, and it's fun to play through. The songs are also fitting. They're usually like GoldenEye 007-like remixes of popular songs or songs that are very present in meme culture. Stuff like All Star, or the Sparta remix theme, or Together Forever, of course, Never Gonna Give You Up. A good selection, and they actually sound really good too. They sound authentic, like they were genuinely recreated in the same style as the GoldenEye tracks, so hats off to the developers for pulling that off. RickRollEye 64's arsenal is pretty varied too. A lot of different guns, fun options to mess with. Some are obviously just built off of the existing guns from the original game. Like, there's an MP5 from Counter-Strike that replaces the regular MP5. There's an M4 carbine from Counter-Strike that replaces the M16 from GoldenEye, and so on and so forth. But there are also some really unique and otherwise very unusual guns that pop up, like an NES Zapper that you can use on enemies, the Lock and Load from TF2, a bazooka from Day of Defeat, of all things, a Colt 1911, the Thompson, as I mentioned before, a portal gun that shoots lasers instead of portals, but they've got like this blue and orange color mix to them. There's a Bergman M1910 handgun that instantly kills anybody, and it's used at a critical point in the game. Just a good variety of guns from different timelines and different time periods. They're all fun to use too. They all have punchy sounds, and they're good to use overall. I just like them. The story can be kind of tough to follow along. I'm not holding it against the devs because it doesn't seem like they are native English speakers, but from what I can gather, more or less, Rick Astley initially works with Gerard Butler to uncover this crossover, but things get complicated and Gerard Butler seemingly dies. And eventually it turns out that other people may have done it. Gerard Butler blames Rick, and eventually it comes to light that there's another, more sinister figure behind it all. I'm basing that off of the dialogue in it. It's kind of tough to follow at times because it doesn't always make the most sense, and some of it is just meme-laden anyway. But it works. Like you can figure out what's going on basically. Multiplayer is a lot of fun too. There are some unique levels made exclusively for multiplayer, as well as stuff that comes from the single player, but this has been repurposed. It's pretty good fun. I played a lot of rounds with some friends back in 2019 when it came out. Had a lot of fun doing it. There's like this R-Wing themed level, there's a pool level. Those are fun to do. There's some good weapon sets too, some custom ones that weren't in the original GoldenEye, like one that only puts crowbars and throwable flip-flops as weapons, one that is exclusively guns from Counter-Strike, another one that's just guns from Day of Defeat. So there's still variety and creativity in the way multiplayer is handled as well. And there are also some special tracks made just for multiplayer mode, like a GoldenEye 007 remix of the Pizza Time theme from Spider-Man 2. If you're up to try something weird and something that's just fun, I'd suggest giving RickRollEye 64 a shot. I had a blast playing through it, and it's a pretty fair game overall. My only complaint is with the snow level, because the objectives are weird. There's extra one that isn't listed in-game that you still need to do, so that can get very confusing to work with. Overall, I would recommend it. You can either play it on a flash cart, like get an EverDrive and load the ROM onto that. That's how I played it. You can also put more ROMs on there, so if you want to do other GoldenEye mods like Goldfinger 64 or GoldenEye X, you could do that. There are also some cartridges on Etsy, like some custom cartridges with artwork and everything, that will work when you put it in an N64. That's another way to try it. You can also use it on Emulator. I would recommend playing it through the 1964 editor. That's one that has keyboard and mouse support and pushes the game to run at 60 frames per second, which makes it very smooth to play. Makes it feel like a modern PC game at times. Sometimes it can make it a little too easy though, so if you're going to do it on 1964, maybe bump up the enemy reaction times to like 50% or so, or higher, to give yourself less of an edge over the enemies and make it more of a challenge. It's still pretty fun though, and enemies aren't pushovers on the hard difficulty. Some memes die, but others are immortal, and RickRollEye proves that. I got good laughs out of it. I had fun. I enjoyed battling against Barney and Gordon Freeman with Mitchell from Hunt Down the Freeman. I liked getting advice from Scatman John in a library full of Scatman impersonators. It was neat having a standoff with Lex Luthor and Gerard Butler and Chell from Portal, with that one character from Tough Puppy. I don't remember her name, but she's in it too. It proves that you can make a good comedic mod and still have it be fun and feel unique. You can take the existing assets from a level and make it feel totally different. I love in particular what was done with the Aztec level, which was made to look like the Black Mesa Research Facility. Does a pretty good job of it. And the Egyptian level, which is made into this library that looks really cool. So, I would say that overall RickRollEye 64 might be the closest thing to TimeSplitters we'll have for a while. I would definitely recommend giving it a shot. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and hope you give RickRollEye 64 a chance. It's never gonna give you up.